I would like this morning. Oh, I'm getting feedback.
How about that? Is that better?
Okay. Yeah, that's much better too. So I'd like to talk to you guys about a little bit about, the up and coming season, which is our busy season, and kind of what you guys can do to help me smooth out some in the compliance road, getting your transactions reviewed quickly. So when I review transactions, I get up in the morning and I pull a sheet of all the transactions that are coming up on closings. And I set my filters so that I get everything that's either resubmitted for review that had been sent back prior, or transactions that have a change made, and then everything that's been resubmitted. So kind of what's happening that's slowing me down a little bit is I have a lot of transactions that are being submitted that are very cumbersome to get through. So I may have 50 documents in a transaction. There's listing documents, there's contract documents. I kind of have to sort them before I can even review them. And if you guys could do a couple of things that help me out in that process, I promise that we can make this transaction submittal and review process a lot smoother. So going forward, if you would separate your documents into separate folders. So if you're on the listing side, you're going to have a listing folder with all the listing documents. Put in the required documents that are on the listing checklist. Put your checklist in there. Look to make sure, check off the documents that you know are required. Put the listing documents in that folder. When you have contracts or offers, put those in separate folders for me. And in that folder, you're going to have the documents that are required on the contract side. So put your checklist in there for the contracts and make sure that you've got everything, at least what's required on that contract checklist, which is the top section. If there's something that is different about your transaction, please notate that on the checklist. If they're interactive, they're writable, you can write stuff in there. You can put text boxes in there if you need to add, additional information, or use the message box that's in the file so we keep everything within the transaction. That makes it easier for me, because if you email me with information and I'm in the file re-reviewing your file, I'm trying to get everything reviewed and approved, I may forget that you've sent me an email with information pertaining to that transaction because I'm just in the system working. So I probably get about 60 or 70 emails a day. So normally, I kind of watch as they pop in, to keep track of those. But it's pretty cumbersome to, get through all of those. And usually that doesn't happen until the end of the night. Unless it's something that's, I can see is really important. So I just want you guys to kind of have an idea of, how this processing works for me. I have added into the compliance handbook folder in the templates, I've added all the items, all the answers to your questions of how to set up a file. What do the statuses mean on your loop, so that when I'm setting a different status in your loop, what that means. If I send your loop back to you with an email, I really want you to be watching for those emails to come into your email system so that you can get right into those files and get me what I need as soon as possible. That will speed the process of you resubmitting and me getting your file reviewed and approved before your closings. So fortunately, what's happening is I wake up in the morning and let me give you an example. So last night when I was done working, I had all the transactions through the 1st of closing on the 1st of April, handled, reviewed, either sent back for additional documents or approved. And this morning I woke up and I have 8 transactions that were submitted overnight that I need to get through today before I can even start processing the closings for the first. So obviously you understand that kind of slowing down the process. And I don't spend, 2 minutes on a transaction. I look at all the documents and do my very best, to know exactly the individual transactions and everything that's happening in them. But I'm not privy to those transactions like you guys are, because you're in the midst of working with, the buyers and sellers or the listing agents on those transactions. So I don't always have the information that you have. If there's something that's very important for me to know or something different about your transaction, please let me know. Use the message box in the loop. Give me the information that you think I should have, and that will save me from having to send your file back to you to get answers. And that speeds up the process for both of us. And it also does for Ryan as well, because Ryan is the second person in this process where she still has to do your DA. And please make sure when you submit your transaction to me for review that you do your green sheet and submit your green sheet on the same day that you submit your file. Because if we're up and running and things are going real fast and I've reviewed and approved your transaction and Ryan goes to do your DA and there's no green sheet, guess what? She's sending the file back, asking for your green sheet. And she may not get another chance to take a look at that until the next day or the day after, or even the third day. Just depends on, what our schedules are. So speed the process, make it quick, get everything that we need in the first, go through. Make sure that you use the checklist so you know exactly what's required before I can approve. Another thing that I've been having to send files back for, if you have a personal transaction, there is a document called Personal Transaction Hold Harmless that is in the templates in the Office document folder, and you are required to sign that document with Avis in order for me to approve your file. So get that in there. Yes, it does need to be notarized, so make sure that you get it signed in front of a notary and get it notarized for me. And before you submit that file would be great. I'd really appreciate that because it speeds up my process. Okay, so that's a lot this morning. Do you guys have questions? Are there things that I can be doing to help assist you in getting this process a little smoother?
Are you seeing anything that other agents outside of KW are doing on a regular basis that we can kind of head off that'll make it run more smoothly for us?
I think the big struggle, there are 2 things that are big struggles right now, and that is getting the WCID and the buyer's signed seller's disclosures from other brokerages, getting those back so that you can submit your files. And the other one is receiving the W-9 from their offices that are on old forms. Those are biggies for me. So make sure that when you get the W-9 at their office on a referral, or if we're paying them on a lease, that W-9 must be on the October 2018 W-9 form. And that's a requirement by the IRS. That's not a Texas real estate requirement. So if Ryan is to process that through the IRS for tax purposes, it has to be on the required IRS form.
We've also had a couple people submit W-9s, like when they ask for another agent's W-9, the agent is not understanding that we need the broker's W-9. We've had a couple issues of that, so make sure that if you're on a lease or you're paying a referral, when you say, hey, I need your W-9, maybe specify are you a broker? Yes or no? Are you the broker, supervising broker? Are you by yourself? Whatever. And make sure that you're getting that W-9 and not the agent's W-9, because we get that a lot, and we both get kind of looking at it when it's somebody's social security number, like, okay, are they by themselves, are they a broker, that kind of thing, just make sure that you're getting the head broker's
Yes.
W-9.
Well, and one thing that's also, that kind of brings up another situation. We do not want copies, driver's licenses, bank checks, passports. Yes, we get those. I prefer not to have the leasing application. If you think about the information on those documents, we do not want to be sharing those in .loop. I just would prefer that we're not responsible if anything should ever happen to where that information gets out. I don't want us to be the responsible party. So I don't require any of those documents in our transactions. And so I would prefer you don't put them in .loop. And while we're talking about that, I also want you to understand that all of the admin can see every transaction that's ever created in .loop, and so can .loop, and everyone within .loop that has access to the transactions. And we are in the process right now of, not we as in me, Keller Williams is in the process right now of copying your transactions into the Keller Williams cloud, and to get us ready to do what we're going to do in the future with our new opportunities program. And so what am I trying to get at? What I'm saying to you is, if you don't want to make public your own personal documentation, please don't put it in .loop. I have seen divorce paperwork. I've seen adoption paperwork. I've seen lots of things in there that I guarantee you don't want public. So, obviously your compliance manager is not going to disclose information they've seen in there. However, I can't guarantee you who all might be in those programs. So please don't put your information in there, your personal things. Don't put the personal things of our clients in there. If you have to add documents in there for a title company or a lender that are people's checking accounts or savings accounts, please make sure that the account numbers have been blackened out before you make those copies. We don't want their personal information in there again. And I know a lot of checking account statements now are only showing the last 4 digits, but we just need to be cautious. So, is there any questions about all of that?
I have
No
one.
Morning, everybody's quiet.
I have one.
Okay.
It's Nancy. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Nancy.
Once it's archived, is it really archived?
No.
No.
Okay, so,
For you.
and there's no way, there's no way to delete then if somebody did put something.
Nothing in .loop can ever be deleted. It will be accessible to everyone for 7 years.
Loop's kind of like the internet.
Yes.
You think it's deleted, but it's just not visible until you're running for an election.
Good point.
Amen to that. Yes. So careful what you share. We live in that kind of world these days. So is that it? Gosh, you guys, no questions for Mary. So what that means to me is everybody understands the process of turning in your files. Things are going to get turned in by the paperwork policy. It's all going to be fully operational, and I'm going to be able to approve it first time through, right?
Amen.
Right? Everybody said yes, Mary.
Yes,
Mike, do you have a question?
Hey, Mary, when you're talking about a specific loop and you want a different folder for the listing versus the contract,
Yes.
should they both be in the same loop, or do you want 2 different loops
Yes.
for those? Okay, so
No,
both in the
one
same
loop.
Okay, just
Yeah.
clarify.
Yeah. Yeah, one loop. So if that's the case, you're going to put the status on there as for sale under contract, and then you're going to put the close.
Okay,
And that's how it's going to. And don't forget to submit for review.
Yes, if I have like additional documents that I just wanna upload to keep with the file, should I do a
Yes.
third folder for that and just,
Yes,
that helpful?
abs- and you do not have to submit that to me for review.
Okay.
You only
If
need to
I-
submit the things that are required.
If we submit the loop, doesn't it submit the whole thing to you, or?
No, when you click submit for review, it asks you to label each folder.
Okay,
And you can label you can check mark the ones that you want. On the left-hand side, it'll give you the box to check mark.
Yeah.
You only check the boxes next to the folders that you want to submit.
okay, gotcha. Okay,
Yeah. And some people, like on a contract, they will submit a folder with the buyer documents in it and then submit a contract folder. And that works great for me too. I'm happy to have that.
cool.
And I'm still working on that farm and ranch checklist. It's coming, guys. You guys are keeping me busy. Just to give you an idea, we had, I think, 23 transactions that were submitted for closing on the 29th. What? That's
That's
crazy.
in 3 days.
Crazy good. That's crazy. But y'all are keeping me busy. So if we can just hone in on our processes and I'm not getting last minute transactions, that helps me a ton. And it doesn't just help me, it helps everybody else in the office. All the other agents who have submitted their transactions are getting pushed back in their review status because I'm having to backtrack every day to go back to the ones that are late submits. And I would like to just go forward and then go backwards and get those other ones. But I want to catch everything before they close and at least have my eyeballs on them before you're closing. So unfortunately, that doesn't work. What we need is for everybody to cooperate and work together as a team. And then, this process will work a lot smoother.
Mary,
So-
when are you supposed to submit your loops?
When are you supposed to submit? You're
After
supposed
they
to
close,
submit
right? Just kidding.
your transaction within
72
24
days.
hours of your option expiring on a contract.
Say that again.
24 hours after the option expires. That should be the latest date that you submit for review. And that is on the paperwork policy in the compliance handbook folder in the templates. So you guys can review that so you know exactly what the policy is. And that is in your policy and procedure guidelines.
And then if something comes up along the way, you can always go back, amend it, and resubmit.
Yeah, or send me a message in the file or on the checklist and just say, waiting on the T47, haven't been able to get the new survey yet, it's coming. The agent hasn't submitted the seller's disclosure back to me with the buyer's signatures on it, something. And by the way, you can hold up the file for that. Let me know that the other agent isn't getting you those buyer documents signed. But to speed that up, make sure that you do that by email and put a copy of the email in the file. So if I see that you've at least sent them and the other agent acknowledges that they've received them and they're going to get them back to us, I can approve your file knowing that those are coming. And if they don't come, it's your responsibility to get those at the closing table. So you go on a list of needed items, and I don't check off that list until we've received those items. So make sure that, you just let me know if things like that are happening. Because it's happening all the time, every day.
All right, any other questions for Mary?
Yay.
All
Thanks
right.
so much for being
Thanks,
there
Mary.
today, you guys.
Have a great day. Give it up for
I
Mary.
will. Thank
All right.
Y'all ready to get the team meeting started?
Yes.
All right. We don't have a lunch sponsor today, so Donna called him this morning. He said, "Oh, I'm in Elgin." So, what's that?
Bring sausage.
Yeah, Donna, that should have been your response. I don't know where you are right now, but yeah, you should have just said bring sausage. I like that. Way to go, Jennifer. That was you, right? All right. Here we go. Let's go ahead and get started. How many of you guys have heard of a wonderful gentleman who passed away a couple of years ago named Zig Ziglar?
Yes.
All right, well, he's got our inspirational message for us this morning. Because we got to inspect where we are at all times, right? So let's see what Zig Ziglar has to say about that. If you can still hear it, you're on deaf.
Let me share with you a true story out of my notebook of life. A number of years ago, got an incredible letter from a gentleman in Toronto with a substantial check in it. He said, "My friend Steve Walker is following the wrong role model. He's working himself to death. His family is falling apart. His health is in danger. And he's modeling himself out of his boss. And he trusts you and respects you. If you will give us 1 hour, I will fly him to Dallas and give you this check." Wouldn't you love to have a friend like that? I sent the check back and I said, "Come on down." Steve and I had quite a little talk. And in our talk, I asked him why he had such a role model. What about this man that made him so completely important in his life? And he said, "Well, he's the most successful man I have ever known." And I said, "Well, Steve, what do you call success?" Now, it took several minutes for him to go down the list. But the interesting thing is, though they're not in the same order that I have put them, or we list them now, these are the 8 things that he said he really considered to be successful. If a man was happy and healthy and at least reasonably prosperous and secure, if he had friends and peace of mind and good family relationship and the hope that the future is going to be better, he said, "I'd consider that man as successful." Now I'm going to really encourage you to take some notes right here. And all I want you to do, and you'll be the only one that'll see it, somewhere right in as I go down the list, write whether you get a plus on that one or a minus on that one. You'll be the only one to see it, but it might be an eye-opener. You see, most people never dare to evaluate really where they are. And you got to know where you are before you can really determine your chances of getting what you really want out of life. And so I said to Steve, I said, "I understand that your boss is very important to you. You consider him to be successful." When he finally got through with the identification, as I said earlier, these were the 8 things that he said, "I think that's important for success, to measure success." I said, "Well, Steve, let me ask you now, as far as happy is concerned, tell me, how happy is your boss?" He said, "Oh, I don't think he's happy at all." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Well, I've never heard him laugh, and he seldom smiles, and besides that, he's got ulcers." I said, "Well, do I give him a plus or a minus?" He said, "Oh, you give him a minus. Please grade yourself as we go. This is so important for you." Then I said, "That also tells me something about his health. If he's got those ulcers, do I give him a plus or a minus?" He said, "You give him a minus." I said, "That also says something, Steve, about his peace of mind, because you don't get ulcers because of what you eat, but what's eating you." I said, "Do we give him a plus or a minus?" He said, "We give him a minus." I said, "Steve, I've asked you one question about what success is, what balance is, what's important to you. One question, and your boss comes up with 3 minuses. I said, "Tell me how prosperous he is." He said, "Man, he's got money running out of his ears, and he's getting more every day." I said, "We give him a plus on that one, don't we?" He said, "We sure do." I said, "How secure is your boss?" He said, "Well, he's as secure as money can make you." And I said, "Well, Steve, let me ask you, did you read where 2 billionaire brothers here in Dallas went bankrupt?" I said, "How does your boss compare?" "Oh, man, he doesn't have that kind of money." "Did you read where our ex-governor was worth $100 million at one point? He's now bankrupt. How does your boss compare?" "Oh, he doesn't have that kind of money." Now, understand, Steve equated security with corporate position and bucks in the bank. So I said, well, Steve, let me ask you, would we give your boss a plus or a minus or just a question mark on that? He said, let's be generous and give him a question mark. I said, how many friends does your boss have? I hope you're marking these for you. How many friends, real friends, does your boss have? He said, I don't think he's got any. I'm not his friend. I just happen to admire the guy. To tell you the truth, he's somewhat of a jerk. And I said, okay, we give him a minus on that one. I said, tell me about his family. And he said, well, his wife's divorcing him. Well, that one's easy to answer. I said, how much hope does he have for the future? He said, well, before I started talking to you, I thought he had a lot. But right now, I don't think he's got any. Why did that statement come forth? Because for the first time, he had evaluated it. That's what we need to do. Evaluate where we are. Are we investing our time properly? Using our resources properly? What will the end results be? Well, then I said to Steve when that was over, we give him the minus there. I said, Steve, of the 8 things that you consider marks of success, he gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minuses. He gets 1 plus and 1 question mark. I asked Steve a question. I'm going to ask you the same question. Steve, would you swap places with your boss right now, knowing what you know? He looked at me kind of stunned. He slowly rose to his feet and said, no, I wouldn't. Would you?
What do you think about that?
He was good. He was good speaker. I heard him one time.
Yeah,
I think he spoke at a real estate conference somewhere.
he's spoken a lot of real estate
A lot
conferences.
of,
Yes.
many times.
Yes, he spoke at a lot of real estate conferences, a lot of sales
You never heard
conferences,
over the top.
a lot of motivational conferences,
Awesome.
all kinds of things. He was a wealth of information. He was from the Dallas area, and his defining moment, if you've ever taken Bold or you've taken, I think Buffini even mentions it in the Buffini classes. His defining moment was when him and his wife were in the grocery store and they were budgeting for all of their groceries, and they came to a point where they had just gone over for the amount of money that they had to spend at the grocery store. And so his wife reaches into the basket, grabs her pantyhose, and puts them back on the shelf. And he said, then his wife starts walking forward with the cart. And it was at that moment that he looked at the back of her pantyhose and saw that they had runs in the back of them. And he said that was his defining moment, that he was never going to let them, as a family, be in a financial position again where she was going to have to make that choice of whether they were to eat or whether she was going to be comfortable and look, because she was very proud of the way that she looked. And he didn't want her to ever have to be in that position again. So that was the defining moment that led him on a path toward financial success, which ultimately opened something within inside of him that made him want and desire to help as many people as possible not ever have to be in that position, to learn from the things that he went through in his life so that they could be prosperous in theirs. So if you ever have a chance to read some of the things that Zig Ziglar has written, I haven't found anything that is not valuable. One of my favorite quotes from Zig Ziglar is, there is no traffic on the extra mile. And when you go the extra mile for your clients, it's a whole lot easier up there because you're not going to have to worry about it. So, speaking of Zig Ziglar and all the gratefulness that I have for him, there's also somebody else that I am grateful for this week, and she's not in the room today, Erica Hilgardner. So, Erica has helped us so much by being one of our presenters in Never Ending Referrals and just helping with things in the Market Center. So when you see Erica, we just tell her thank you for helping out with that. And then I also want to say thank you again to Megan for last week for the Farm and Ranch class that you did. If you were here, Megan did a great job. So how many of you guys were here for the Farm and Ranch class? What did you, just one or two takeaways from it? Don't all speak at once.
Work that goes into actually making sure you get.
Absolutely. It's a whole lot different than a residential contract, right? All right, anyone else?
Is it recording? Is it recording?
It was recorded for Megan to analyze it.
It's
continuing education,
so
so.
we're not able to share that, but we will be hosting it again
Yeah.
with TNT probably in the next month to 6 weeks, kind of dependent on
Yeah.
Amanda and her little one that's coming. But yeah, be on the lookout. That'll be a free class if you don't want the continuing education credit. It'll be $20 if you do, and it's 2 hours a CE.
And Megan, will you also stand up? Today is Megan's birthday. She's 21 years old today, so let's sing happy birthday to Megan. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Megan. Happy birthday to you. It's always awkward having everyone looking at you and singing to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to make that as awkward as possible, so mission accomplished. All right, and now I found another Ellen video that we have not seen yet, so I want to share that with you this morning.
This is a Craigslist ad for an apartment in Seattle. Spectacular views, 3 bedrooms, 1.75 baths, washer, dryer, no dogs, up to 28 cats allowed. If you'd like to see the unit, there's an open house on Sunday, or you can just watch Hoarders. I don't even understand that ad. Here's a listing for a house in Orange County. It says a spacious 2-bedroom house, newly renovated, kitchen, hardwood floors, lots of closet space. See photos. Let's see the first one. All right. Well, you know, when you add flowers, it really does help sell a house. So they're not taking chances. They put 2 vases there with flowers. Let's see another room. There's some flowers. That's perfect right there. Where should I put them? Just right there. That's good. Let's see if they did that with another room. They did. Look at that. It opens up the room when you see a photo like that. Here's the last one. This is outside, and there's the flowers. I'm happy to report the house was purchased by a lovely family of hummingbirds. This is a house in Portland. It says amazing 2,400 square foot home in Northwest Heights, totally renovated, beautiful views. Here's a picture they included of the bathroom, which seems beautiful. Look at the view. Look at that. You can zoom back out if you want. Yeah. Oh, today was a picture day? I had no idea. You know what that photo needed? Flowers. You wouldn't have seen them. If you see a real estate listing you think I should see, send it to me. We will be right back after this.
Okay, so that brings me to my next point. How many of you guys saw my Facebook post over the weekend about the for sale by owner?
No.
All right, well, I'm going to show it to you right now. So, this is in my neighborhood. For those of you who don't know where I live in Santa Rita Ranch, which is just down 29 in Ronald Reagan.
Good place to live.
It's not a bad place to live. I like it a little bit. All right, so I'll go to the one that's in our office Facebook page. 986. I'll look it up here. Yeah, you gonna play the Jeopardy music for me? All right, here it is. Okay, so for those of you that can't see that, it is for sale by owner in Santa Rita Ranch, and they put house comes with golf cart. House comes with golf cart.
He ain't very happy about it.
Oh,
Well, we don't even have a golf course in Santa Rita Ranch, but we do have a lot of people who have golf carts that drive around in the community, go to the pool and stuff like that. And so I posted it in here on our office page with the phone number on there in case any of you guys wanted to call it, and some of you did. And so for that, I applaud you. Way to go. I also blacked out the information and posted it on my public Facebook page where I have all of my friends who are part of it. And one of the first responses I got was actually from a gentleman who's a lender. And this blew my mind because his response was, maybe this person has a really good friend who is a lender and is helping them. And I thought, that's interesting. So I responded with this. It would really surprise me that a lender would do this because about 100% of lenders' business comes from realtors. And then he responded with something. Oh, he also called out my integrity for being a leader and posting something like that that makes fun of someone. And I responded with, I blacked out the information for a reason, and about 100% of the people in my sphere, because I work with realtors for a living, would find this funny. And so we went from there. And then he ended up responding and admitting that it was his friend and that he was butthurt because it was his friend who I was making fun of, even though no one else knew where this listing was. And then he responded in a private message and said, I realize I probably shouldn't have called you out on your own Facebook page. And I said, yeah, that's totally okay. I realize you probably didn't think that you actually work with realtors for a living. So there's that. So the reason I tell you that story is because we are in a business where many people are only looking out for who? For themselves. It doesn't matter if it's a lender, it doesn't matter if it's a title company, it doesn't matter if most real estate agents in the Central Texas area, how many of them work for themselves? Almost all of them, right? They don't see this as a team atmosphere. They don't see this as protecting an entire industry. And that's one of the things that I want to get across to you is every single person in this office is part of our team. When you need help, when you see someone who needs help, be there for them. You're going to come up against things that you don't know about because you've never been in that situation. And I promise you, if you raise your hand and say, here's what I'm going through, somebody in this office is going to be able to say, I've been there, let me help you, because that's the culture of who we are. We are here to support one another because the more we help one another, guess what? The more our market share is going to increase because we're the best people out there. I want to share with you something that Lauren put together for us. So this right here is a visual representation of where our office has agents. Now right here in this dot right here, that one big push pin should really be 97 of them. We ran out of push pins in this particular area here in Georgetown. In Georgetown itself, our office has 97 active real estate agents. Up here in McLennan County, we got 2. Here in Bell County, we have 47. Over here in Lampasas County, we've got 3 people. In Burnett, we've got about 7 people. Down in the Lake Travis area, we have another 15 or so. And we're going to put this up in the hallway so that when you have somebody and you need help in one of those areas, we can go to the map and say, hey, we've actually got somebody up there, here's their contact information, so that you don't feel like you're completely on your own out there. Because if you have somebody who needs help in Waco, are you going to drive all the way up to Waco to help them, or are you probably going to refer that? You're probably going to refer that. It'd be awesome to be able to refer them to somebody who we're in business with that you know and that we have a good relationship with, because we always know they're going to do what? The right thing, because that's who we are. We're a company full of integrity, and integrity is very important to us, which leads me to my next point. There are times when having to send the license back to the real estate commission happens, and we are very, very protective of the reputation that we have because of who we are as a company here in Georgetown, because of who I am as an individual and because of who our broker is. We want to protect her reputation as well. So this last weekend was one of those first times where I had to step out on the line and send a license back to the Real Estate Commission. And if you hear things about it or you hear stories that are going on about it, come and talk to me about it. And we'll talk about the details on situations like that, because when you step out of integrity, you step out of our company. And we draw a very, very solid line in the sand, because we want to make sure that everyone who's affiliated with us is always seen in the best possible light in Williamson County, in Central Texas, and really, you know what, I want to say the entire world, because we get to help people in all different facets of their life, and they're going to share that story with other people from other places, and that reflects on not just us as an individual, it really reflects on us as an entire industry. So I wanted to share that with you guys this morning as well. All right, moving on to some lighter things. Yes?
Use your phone, or otherwise you get fined $25.
Yes?
I just actually texted you a picture. I don't know if you can cast it on the screen.
I probably
I
can.
should have sent it to you in advance. I thought about it over the weekend and forgot. But,
Is that a rattlesnake?
yes, can you cast it on
Where
the
did you
screen?
find that?
It was at a listing that I showed on Friday.
Yeah.
No.
On where, Highway 29?
No, it was in the neighborhood.
Oh.
I was just gonna,
Nope. Training.
it was kind of a random thing. I was gonna show y'all.
There we go. It'll be there in a second. There we go.
So, let's kind of blow this up. So,
What is that?
So this is a listing in downtown Burnett. So the house has a single garage, and so the garage was right here, and I'm standing here, and I'm talking to my client, and he dusted a cobweb off the driveway, and it's like right here. And he said, "Are you easily freaked out by things?" I said, "Not really."
I'm freaked out by that question.
And he said, and he goes, "Check this out." And he went, and he poked it, and I hear this rattling. And I look up and I'm like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "Stop it, stop it." And it's rattling and hissing and poking its tongue out. And so I said, "Don't poke it." And so he goes, "Use the stick," and then starts poking it. And so, and the
Who in the world are you working with?
you can ask him. I have stories. Anyway, there was just a slight groove under that little fascia board, and anyway.
How high is that?
It as high as this. It's an 8-foot garage. But I mean, I had been standing right here. This is the board, and then the garage door, is right here. So had anybody opened the garage door? I don't know if it had fallen out. I don't know if it was its winter home and it had kids up there. I don't know if it was just hanging out or what. But literally, I was standing right here because I was parked in the garage, in the driveway. It was a vacant house.
In circumstances like this, I believe arson is okay.
Yes. So my client is trying to dig it out with a stick, and I'm freaking out. So I get home and I tell my husband,
You guys got balls of steel.
I'm like, no, he's just not very bright. And so I get home and I'm telling my husband, he's like, "Well, did he get it? Did he get it?" I'm like, "Oh my God." So like, clearly y'all can never play together because.
Oh
anyway, I just wanted to share that.
goodness.
Just be right.
But did he get it?
Yeah, did he get it? You didn't tell us the story. Did he get it?
I wouldn't let him.
We don't know. He's still in the
It was
hospital.
rattling. So I took a picture and I told him the reason I'm taking a picture is so I can show the people at the ER when you go.
Scott,
Yes.
everybody really, really needs to watch out for baby rattlesnakes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, if you're out doing farm and ranch property, or
No,
even
you
residential
here in your
property
neighborhood.
here in Georgetown.
Or taking pictures in the bluebonnets.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of Sun City, and my next door neighbor got bitten by one
Man.
right at his garage door.
This was above the garage door.
And if you have a crack like this much in your garage somewhere, they'll come in. The babies. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Saying they're adapted to where they're not rattling anymore.
Huh?
The
The what?
They're adapted. It's killing them now, so they're changing their environment, so they're not rattling anymore.
Wow.
If you poke it with a stick, it will.
Yes. But.
The tried and true method. Is it really a rattlesnake?
The warning's not there.
Good grief.
Because they're adapting to
No way to avoid it.
All right, so is there a way to avoid them? Run.
Well, I mean, and pepper or something, is there anything?
What's, well,
Clap as you walk?
do what?
Clap
Just a clap as you walk. Like
Now, is that something that really works, or is that something that somebody made up online? They just watch people going,
Like you're walking through your grassy area.
hey, who's the crazy person over there? What's that?
Simply want to go snap.
Yeah, actually, I heard it if you go like this. Yeah, it actually works really well. Okay, so we're having a lot of fun, I'm glad. All right, so what's going on in the Market Center? First of all, Command Central. If you came to our class yesterday, you'll realize that everything that I planned to teach on Friday did not work for the class that we taught yesterday. It just happened. So we did go through some other things. As of this morning, though, when I went and checked it, landing pages are working. You can go and create your landing pages in Command. All you have to do is go to agent.kw.com and then click on, there's a little button down, I think it's like 8 down from the top on the left side of the screen. It's going to look like a little square and it's going to have a pencil next to it. It's called Sketchhouse. What you'll do is you'll click the button in there, and then in the middle it's going to ask you, what do you want to create? Is it an email? Is it a website? Is it a listing presentation? What is it that you want to create here? You'll click on web, and then it'll take you to another page, and there's some widgets off to the side. When you click on those different widgets, you can simply drag them to wherever you want to. One of them is the agent contact information. Yesterday, that's what wasn't working for us to be able to edit it. This morning it was. So you can drag that over, and then you can drag over the contact me form. And one of the strategies that we talked about the other day, what? Contact me form.
Oh, contact.
Yeah, it's a contact me form. One of the strategies we talked about for creating that page yesterday is how many of you guys do help people with their taxes, like their tax assessments, things like that? Okay, if you don't, now's a great opportunity to add people to your database by providing value to them and helping them to see what their actual value is on their home. Not value, you can't say value. What the actual sales price based upon the comparable homes in the area could be in their neighborhood compared to what the tax assessor's value that they've placed on the home is. So what you can do is you can create that landing page, interested in finding out more about your taxes and how you could possibly save money. Contact me here. You just create a link for that. They fill out that form. By doing that, it automatically adds them to your command database as well. And then you have an additional person in your database who's going to start getting information about their neighborhood, and you're going to be able to reach out to help with their taxes. So that's a great thing that you can do. Bingo! Hey, you answered it. So whoever it is, we can say hi. I'm just kidding. All right, so that's on Mondays.
Turn it off. I'm sorry.
All right, and if you have any tech questions on Monday, like turning your phone off, bring it. We'll show you how to do it. And so that's Mondays from 9:30 to 10:30. We're going to be doing it out here in the open area because if you saw, we've got the TV put up, so we can use that as an additional training area. So I'm there on Mondays from 9:30 to 10:30 all the time. Any questions you have, just come hang out with us. All right, and then on this Thursday, the 28th from 10 to 1, there's going to be a cash flow planning for real estate investors class. That's a lot of words. Capital Title is going to be putting that class on here in the office for us, and I believe there's continuing education credit for it if you choose to get that. And then if you're interested in doing the Weight Watchers thing, there's still some slots available. Just send Kristen a message about it, and we're going to put a group together here in the office. And Weight Watchers is actually going to come here to the office to help us out with that. And then Round Robin Scripts is going to be from Thursday from 11 to 12. Tom, do you mind sharing a little bit about some of the things we've been talking about in there?
I don't mind. So really, we're talking about anything that comes up. Megan, what was the one that... Megan doesn't get stumped. She's been doing real estate for more than 5 years, right?
Yeah, I've been
That's the
doing it for
perception
5
everybody
years,
has, and
but-
that's really what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Everybody gets asked a question that they don't know how to answer, or the seller is so confident that you kind of want to tuck your tail. How do you respond? And I guess the bottom line message that I would say for this class, 2 things. Come to the class. It's interactive. You don't have to participate, and you'll end up participating. And you can practice on each other instead of practicing on your clients, and that, so, you know, that's the whole point of scripts, to know what you're gonna say, so not only can you answer the question well, but you can also hear the entire question before you answer and pick up back where you started.
And I would also say that it's a lot of problem solving and objection handling. So if for some reason like scripts doesn't like sound really exciting or something to you, really what we're talking about is how to overcome those situations and make sure we're having success in our appointments.
Absolutely.
So think about it like that.
We did talk about, a couple weeks ago, I talked about iBuyer, and then I did again at the ALC meeting. Actual experience, and I guess this would be a good place to talk about that. I had somebody who decided to go with Open Door. And
Is that a real estate company?
that's a company that Instant Buyer, you give them, answer some questions and provide pictures, and they give you an offer based on that within 24 to 48 hours. So they came in $10,000 below what I said it would sell for. And then when he called to say, hey, Open Door, is that it? Am I gonna get my $200,000? They said, oh, well, there's gonna be a 12% surcharge on that, plus a 3% because we're not confident we can get your house sold. So 15% off of that price is what that's gonna be. Yeah, and that's kind of.
That's usually what consumers end up saying too.
So knowing how these companies operate is a really big deal, and this guy happened to say, I mean, hey, yeah, you can stay in touch with me, and when he got the call, he called me right away, and he decided he's not going to sell for now. Yet, you can go and make sure you know what their motivation is. Another person in that same area in Gerald, when they called and said, hey, I hear you're charging Charlie 15%, whatever, they said, when are we closing and what am I gonna get? And within an hour, they got a phone call and said, oh, you know what, you're too close to 35, we're taking our offer back. So that's a terrible situation, and when you're in 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks into selling your house and you're getting ready to do that, typically when you sell it this way, you're desperate and there's a need, and suddenly you're stuck because here you thought you were gonna make $30,000 and now they've taken that $30,000 and you're gonna be paying to close. So just know how these companies
How
operate.
did you do it in a track?
You can't, they're not a,
That's not,
they're not a brokerage. They're individuals purchasing homes. Can't do anything about it.
Yeah, Avis
What
was
do I
supposed
think
to talk to Trek about that. Do you know how that went?
I don't have an answer on it yet. No. Because it's a hedge fund essentially is what it is. Yeah.
I saw yesterday when I was driving back from Fort Worth, I stopped in at Sumterra, and one of my clients was out front on Geode, and she said, you know, we're not happy with our house, we're probably gonna sell, so I called Open Door. And she told me how the conversation went with Open Door, that they were gonna offer her, they paid $183 in January of last year, Open Door was gonna offer her $175, and she goes, has the market gone down that far? I was like, no, the market hasn't gone down, and the way I was instructed yesterday at my training is you can't badmouth them, which I'm not gonna do anyway, but you have to let your customer client know that Open Door is there to help people that are in financial distress or don't wanna go through the normal avenues of selling a home and are willing to
Spend a lot of money for it.
And she's like, well, I was very upfront with them and told them, you know, we've ripped the carpet out, so it's just concrete floors, but we're gonna replace that. And they said they'd give me $175, and I thought that, you know, other than the market going down for the condition the house is in right now, I thought that was probably a pretty good deal.
do they buy the house?
They buy it and then they turn around and sell it.
So
They either sell them to invest, sorry, you did your end up, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I highly encourage you guys to educate yourself on the process, whether you try and sell your own home and offer that up to see what the process is, because many of your clients, before you're meeting with them, have already gone through and have already talked with these people. I can tell you, I've gone on probably 4 or 5 different appointments, and at least 3 of them have spoken with Open Door beforehand. So if you're making sure you're continuing your relationships with your clients, you need to make sure that you're aware of those things so you can speak educatedly on them. So go investigate it and do a little trial run. Sorry, Tom, go ahead.
No, that's okay. So, I mean, in that situation, you can actually, when you're going on a listing appointment, you may have already done this. If you haven't, here's what we can do. And they're not gonna buy a house that's been listed. So you get a listing agreement signed and you go and present to Open Door and Zillow Offers and OfferPad and all of your investor friends and come back and say, here's the offer that they have, here's where I think we can get it sold. Even if they're in a desperate situation, you can most likely get that house sold in 30 days when they are.
And you can net them more money.
Net them more money.
Although they have helped us with one thing. How many of you guys how many of you guys chose not to use a script when you really didn't have a buyer to go into a for sale by owner? Hey, I might have a buyer. Well, guess what? You might have a buyer now. Open Door.
So see how all this conversation just flowed here?
Yeah.
That's how it flows for that hour. It's 11 to 12. We start on time, we end on time, sometimes early. See you Thursday.
Yeah, it's great. Yes.
I'm changing the subject. Can we go and do a presentation at other real estate companies about Keller Williams here in Georgetown?
What do you mean? Like?
Well, like if I want to go to Houston to the Keller Williams office and do a presentation about Georgetown.
Oh, yeah, you'd just reach out to the team leader in that market. You'd reach out to the team leader of that market center and see if you can come and do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure.
So I was going to do it in Santa Fe, you know.
Oh, yeah, you just
No
talk
problem
to
there.
you just talk to the team leader there. Yeah. Did you have something?
No.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's move on to the next thing. All right, if you're interested in joining a committee like the tech committee or our culture committee in the office, just come and see me and I'll get you plugged into that. We've got an event coming up the day of the big concert. Pat Green is the person who's going to be on the square this year for the Poppy Festival. So there's going to be a lot of people up here that evening to see Pat Green. We're going to be doing an event here in our parking lot before that. It's our margarita pre-party. So we'll have margaritas available. We've got a band that's going to be coming to join us that afternoon as well. Last year in 2 hours we gave over 600 margaritas away to only 200 people. No, no, it was about 600 people we had come through the portico at our last building. And this is a client appreciation event for you. So each person will have you'll be able to get 10 wristbands for your to invite your clients to this event to come up here on the square, because we all know they're probably going to be up here anyways. They might as well come and say hi to you. You get 10 wristbands to that event. If you want to buy additional ones on top of that, we're going to be selling for $3 per wristband on top of it. There's going to be food. We're going to have margaritas. We're going to have a band, and it's just kind of a place for them to go and put their chairs where they want them for the concert, and then come hang out and have some fun while they're waiting for the concert to start. So that's going to be on, I think it's April 27th. It's the Saturday when the Poppy Festival is going on. If you've never been to the Poppy Festival,
What's the date?
April 27th, Saturday, April 27th, and I can't remember the time we're going to do it.
4 to 7.
4 to 7, yeah, 4 to 7. And we'll have wristbands out for you guys before, probably the week before that, so that you can start getting them out to your spirit. Any questions about that?
Yeah. Is
Yeah, you first.
the parking lot going to be blocked off?
Part of our parking lot is going to be blocked off for that event. Our parking lot is definitely going to be blocked off for well, actually, first of all, our priority is for you. So if you want to come and utilize the parking lot during that evening, you can. If an individual who doesn't want to use the parking lot comes, we're going to sell parking up here as well. Yeah. And then we have another thing we're putting together and working with the culture committee on it for some other details. Those are going to come out in a little while. In conjunction with that event, we're going to have a fundraiser. So,
what happens with those funds for charged parking?
Charged parking, we just choose a local nonprofit organization. A couple years ago, it was the Boys and Girls Club. The last time we did it, we donated to Big. Yeah.
This is, I'd like to tell people, I don't know how many of you know about the Angel Foundation. We can't make money off of it, to my knowledge. But the Angel Foundation here in Georgetown, they do a performance on April 10th, 11th, and 12th, I think, and the man that's head of it, well, there's a woman in Georgetown that's head of it, and she brings her friend in from New York City who is performed on Broadway. He's fabulous. So you can Google this and get all the information. They have a performance at the high school, and they bring in 4 or 5 stars from Hollywood.
Really?
Yes, and they perform with the students, and it is fabulous.
This is at Georgetown High School?
It's gonna. I think this year, last year it was at the Georgetown High School. I think this year it's going to be at the other.
Eastview?
Yeah. Do they have a big auditorium there?
No.
They don't?
Because the Georgetown High School auditorium is really fun. That's where it was last year. But you can go online and Google it, and I encourage all of you all to go. It was wonderful.
The Angel Foundation? Okay,
The
perfect.
Angel Foundation, yeah.
Awesome. I did not know about that. All right, so next thing we got here is a CMA class. It's not really the Country Music Awards. I just thought that was funny. Put it up there from last week, left it, because it was the only thing that I could Google and find CMA for. So it's not the Country Music Awards. It is a market analysis class that we're going to have here tomorrow. We're going to go through some of the best practices for creating a market analysis. We have interviewed appraisers and asked them, hey, what exactly are you looking for when you're putting your appraisal together? Because we all know that their value is the one that the bank decides they're going to, if they're going to lend or not. So the closest we can get to that, the better off we're going to be. That class is tomorrow at 1:30 here in this room. So it's going to be from 1:30 to 3. Kristen's going to be teaching it, and we're going to go over some of the best practices for creating market analysis. If you cannot make it in for that class will be live streamed. So it'll be available to you online. Any questions about that? Perfect. Who has a new listing they want to tell us about? Kathy.
I have a couple. So I have
Well,
one
look
acre.
at you.
Yeah, I have 1 acre in Leander, about an 18 square foot house, 4 bedrooms, been updated, right at 2% tax.
Wow.
So it's it's in a little
In
pocket
Leander?
neighborhood. Yes, it's in a little pocket neighborhood, back behind Summerlin. So really low restrictions. I mean, it's gonna be a great little.
That alone is worth
Yeah, so
$200,000.
we're gonna come, at about 300, is
Yeah.
right where that is. So, I also have a new listing coming in Marble Falls. It's a, 3 bedroom, 2,800 square foot, 4 garages, 2 of them can have an RV. You can like literally just you're at the top of a hill. It's right across from the Balcones, Canyonlands in a gated community. That one's coming at $675. And then, I'm gonna have another one that I'm gonna be a little obtuse about yet, I don't wanna reveal, but it's gonna be over close to Reunion Ranch.
All right.
On 6 acres, and you do have access, I wanna say to the river there, a pool, 1,800 square foot kind of farmhouse. So that one will be right around 5.5 probably. So if anybody wants to know anything, I can probably get you in there beforehand, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark.
Got
Oh, for those of you who don't know, this is Mark. He's one of our newer agents here.
Hey, everybody.
Former MCA in Waco.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now I'm in Georgetown, yay! So I got a 4-2 coming this weekend. It's in Coppers Cove. It's a rental property. So it's priced at $135, and I think it's almost 1,600 square feet. Has a solid renter in it that just renewed a 1-year lease, paying $1,200 a month. So,
wow.
So it's a good investment property. It's obviously going to be probably just looking for investors. But right away you're getting a 10% return or better.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a great property for an investor.
Great. Perfect. Megan.
I've got a couple of listed in this last week and haven't had a chance to share with you guys. The first one is 100 Landry Cove, and this is in Morningstar. This is a Steve Klein built home. It was built 2 years ago. It's just over 2,000 square feet, 3 bedrooms, plus an additional study or formal dining. Incredible finish outs, $30,000 in upgrades since it's the model. Brothers Builders is now officing out of that home, so it's a little bit unique to show. Yeah, it's absolutely stunning. It's listed at $397. Steve Klein, all the upgrades, and it also has availability of leasing it for $2,200 a month. So there's that one, and then
What's it going to be listed at?
it's $397.
Okay.
And then there's also the one that we were on tour today, which is 1201 Naranjo and Georgetown Village. This is in Ashton Woods, built home 2 years ago, or 2016 built, so it's just barely been lightly lived in. Wood floors, farmhouse sink, built-in gas range. It's got a huge sitting area, almost like additional living area off the master. Large covered back porch, and it backs to kind of a neighborhood-owned green space. Not official green belt, but you do have a little bit of a buffer between there and Serenata, so you've got some nice trees and no visual neighbors behind you, you can tell. And then the last one, and that one's listed at, $319. And then the last one is the doozy that I need everyone to sell, and I don't know why it's not under contract yet, under 200,000 in Old Town. So 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, just under 1,500 square feet, built in 2002. It's 1602 East 19th Street, listed at $199. We're eager for offers at this point. The house next door is under contract. That's been fully remodeled. It's under contract for above the list price, which is above $250,000. This house that I have listed does need probably $25,000 worth of work and repairs. Yet it's a really great flip opportunity, buy and hold, right near Southwestern.
It's real solid, real square.
What's the address?
1602 East 19th Street. It is on the MLS. The owner does work from home, so we do require appointments to show, but just to give you an idea, if it's morning or evenings, I'll make it happen.
Okay.
I used to live next door to her for 10 years. I can't say enough good things about the area.
Great. Perfect.
No neighbors behind, no HOA.
Debbie.
I have one coming next week. It's a little over 11 acres in Buckholz. It's got a lot of road frontage. I have been in 1915. It's got a lot of trees on one area, one's real, the other part's real cleared off. It has a water tap. It's going to be 10,000 an acre.
It's what?
It's actually in the, I think it's Thorndale, Baby Rock School District. I'll have to double check on that.
How many acres you said?
10 over 11.
All right, anyone else? Yeah, Christy.
I have a listing.
By the way, welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be back. I have a listing coming available in Burnett. It's a country home on 18.6 acres, fully fenced, adorable country home with a porch all the way across, high on a hill, underneath gorgeous trees. Has a large workshop. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Burnett, like I said, Burnett, 18 acres, over 18 acres. Ag exemption currently in place, I believe. It's gonna be listed at $579.
What area of town?
It's going to be,
North of 29 or south?
it's gonna be,
This side of?
it's off of the 281 area.
Okay.
All right, anyone else?
And it's, the seller also has a property next door to it that we haven't listed, but we signed a listing agreement, but she keeps bouncing back and forth. If she wants to continue moving forward, but I can tell you that I've worked with her many, many, many years. I know that if she got what she wanted for it, then that would be the deciding factor, but it's a barn dominium. It's an adorable barn dominium. On 24, a little over 24 acres, also fully fenced, has an attached large workshop and then a separate large workshop.
Okay.
And horse stalls, all of that. That one's gonna be $579 as well,
All right,
so.
okay. Anyone else? Any coming soon? Yeah, go ahead.
I was actually looking for anything, say, a multifamily listing, 4 units or greater. If
Hey,
anyone knows
you need to
anybody.
talk to Kathy.
I have one come
She's
back
got
on the
one.
market.
Yeah.
Where is it?
In Taylor.
In Taylor,
We do
okay.
construction.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to
That's
talk to you about it,
yeah.
but anything in Williamson County or, as far south as Pflugerville, like 4 units and above.
Great. Any other price improvements or coming soon? Yes.
Price improvements, 20 acres out off of County Road 722, Briggs, Killeen, Burnett County, however you wanna look at it. It's fully fenced, build site would be on the back end overlooking the Lampasas River Valley.
Okay.
20 acres for 2.25.
Great.
I have a price improvement. My listing on 1800 County Road, 156. It's got a Granger address, but it is the Georgetown School District. 5 acres with a big 2-story home, 3-car garage, 2 big buildings outside. Went to $449.
How many bedrooms?
3 bedrooms, and it has a game room or flex room upstairs.
How many acres?
5 acres.
Megan.
We've got 2 coming up in Parkview. They're both 3 bedrooms. We're just slowly inching forward on the make ready. So if you've got a buyer out there, there's only one thing available, so let me know and I will give you the scoop on these.
Okay. Anyone else? Great. So I want to go back to one thing before we end our meeting today. Buyer needs. Yeah, that's the one thing. No, I'm just kidding. That wasn't the one thing. But Tom, take it away. Buyer needs.
So I have, she's actually not even my client, but and a good friend. She is the wife of a deceased soldier, and she's looking for a house on 5 acres or more, east of 35, preferably in the Taylor and Hutto area, up to 520, prefers in the 480 range, 4 bedrooms, 5 acres for her dogs and her daughters. She's a great person.
Okay.
I have other buyer needs, but I forgot.
That was the most important.
Yeah, that really
Any
was.
other buyer needs? Yes, Janie?
I have a couple of clients that are going to be moving from Portland. Their limit is about 600,000. They want to be close to Wolf Ranch or fairly close in even Old Town. That's what I'm interested in making. I would like to have them to have a pool so I can come swim. A pool isn't necessary, in fact. So anything in that range.
By the way, how awesome does Janie look?
Oh, thanks.
I don't know what you've done, but you've incredible job. You've lost so much weight that you're giving away a t-shirt.
Right.
Right? Okay, so she had this t-shirt custom made right here on the front. It says real estate agents need closure. And on the back it says WWAD, what would Avis do? So if any of you are interested in this t-shirt, come see Janie. She'd love to give it to you. All right, any other buyer needs? Mike?
I need a 4+ bedroom, or maybe at least an acre, something that backs up this green area, and 2017 or newer, and the HOA must allow at least 5 animals, if it has one. Yeah, Williamson County. That's
Can
where
a unicorn be one of those animals?
That's where,
That's what you're looking
that's
for.
where I'm running into issues. I found one, but they
Yeah.
didn't like the floor plan, so,
Okay.
oddly enough. But yeah, it's tough.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, so now the final thing I want to go over. When Zig Ziglar was talking about having to inspect where we are at all times to know, what we're really looking for, that's why we put the pre-listing lead sheet together. If you don't use one of those, I want to encourage you to do so, because it can be the difference between getting a listing and not getting a listing, simply because you take the time on the front end. How many of you have been to a doctor before?
What?
A doctor? Have you all been to a doctor before?
Never.
Yeah.
Is it more comforting when the doctor comes in and asks you about the problems that you're having, and then takes the time to get to know you and get to know all of your symptoms before saying, here, take this medicine, it'll cure you? Or is it more comforting to go to the doctor just coming in and looking and saying, all right, here's some amoxicillin, go home? It's way more comforting to be at a doctor who's going to take the time to get to know you and what's going on with you. Well, I want you to think about the pre-listing lead sheet in that exact same way. Most agents, when they get a phone call from somebody who says, I want to list my house, they ask 2 questions. What's your address and when do you want me to be there? I want to encourage you to think about that a little bit differently. Hey, I'm so excited you called me, and I'd love to take a little bit of time to ask you some questions before I get there to make sure I'm as prepared as possible and I have as much information I can about your house before I even get there. The pre-listing lead sheet allows us to ask questions that really dig into what their motivation is, why they need to sell their home, what their home could use before it's even listed, and it even goes even further than that in a question where you ask them, hey, describe your home to me. Why would we ask them to describe their home to us? So we can write down every single adjective that they use about their home, so that when we're in that listing presentation, we can do what? Use every single adjective they use to describe about their home, so that we do what? We connect with them. We connect with them on their level. We connect with them about their home in the way that they already feel about it. Yes, is it sales? Absolutely. Do we care about these people? You better believe we do. We have to know what their motivation is so that we can help them get to where they want to be. And that's what the pre-listing lead sheet helps you to do. There's also a question on there that a lot of people get uncomfortable with. It's this one. Have you ever considered selling your home by yourself? Why would we ask that question? Because if they've considered it, isn't that something we should know on the front end so that we can overcome that objection before they even have the opportunity to bring it up? Yeah, absolutely. That's why that pre-listing lead sheet is important, because it's got questions designed to tell you the objections that are going to come up before you even get there, so that you can come to the script class on Thursday at 11 o'clock and bring those objections before you even go on that appointment. Or you could just go on YouTube or any of those other places that you want to go to look up different scripts to overcome those things. But that's why it's so important, so that we can see exactly where we are. So I wanted to encourage you to use that form. If you don't know where it is, it's at connectkw.com. And you just click on the coaching tab, and it is inside of the documents for listing presentations under the coaching tab on connectkw.com. Does anyone else have anything for today? Perfect. Well, I'd say have a wonderful lunch here, but you're going to have a wonderful lunch somewhere else, or you can go find that guy in Elgin and ask him to buy you lunch. So, y'all have a wonderful day. Thanks for being here. Yes?
Okay. Sometimes it's good. I